Hi there everyone, my name is Jess Carlton and I'll be discussing newborns and the family. Newborns. Conceiving them, pretty easy and often feared. People always consider firsthand the pregnancy and how that'll affect their day-to-day life, but there's so much more to newborns. How will they affect your relationship with every single person in your life and possibly the relationship with yourself, your sleep schedule, and so much more. Being a parent at any point in your child's life is hard, but how hard is it really to parent a newborn? That's what we will be discussing today. So many parents prepare endlessly for their child to arrive into this world. They save money, they give them a home to live in, clothes to wear, food to eat, yet they often push aside the mental aspect of having a child. Not only is it essential for parents, it is wildly important for a child at such an early stage of their lives to have their parents mentally and physically there to create a proper bond between parent and child. Children undergo a massive brain development growth and neuron pruning in the first 2 years of life, which is shaped by their parents. Parental inconsistency and a lack of love can lead to long-term mental health problems, as well as reduced overall potential and happiness. A fantastic statement by Robert Winston says, "The human brain is an amazing organ made up of over 100 billion brain cells that each connect to over 7,000 other brain cells. It's more complicated than a computer. In fact, it's the most complicated object in the known universe." Now think if that brain is in the hands of someone incompetent of taking care of themselves, let alone a child, so much could go wrong. And it is found that it can lead to reduced growth in the left hemisphere, which may lead to associated and increased risk for depression, increased sensitivity in the limbic system, which can lead to anxiety disorders, and reduced growth in the hippocampus that could contribute to learning and memory impairments. I interviewed multiple mothers, and in one particular that now has grown-up children, and what her experience was like having brand new children and how it affected her life. She said she had spent so many hours thinking of her children and how their lives would be changed if something went wrong. She would go through the possibilities in her head endlessly. It began to affect her negatively and would cause her to lose sleep. Although she was losing sleep, she cares so immensely for her children, she is always thinking of them. The consensus among mothers was that it was vital that babies and their parents are supported during this time to promote attachment. Without a good initial bond, children are less likely to grow up to become happy and independent and resilient adults. But let's get back to preparing endlessly for your child. What if you and your partner both work full-time and you have to, or you will not have the money to survive? A study done in 2014 showed that 69% of couple families with at least one child under 16 were dual earner families, up from 36% in 1976. Among dual earner families, almost 3/4 had two parents working full-time in 2014. Consider this. You had a baby merely 12 weeks ago and had to go back to work, and not to mention those 12 weeks were unpaid. In the United States, that is sadly the reality for women, and men aren't even considered for paternal leave. In Canada, we are fortunate to be granted such large windows of maternity and paternity leave. The Canadian government mandates both leave and benefits component, the latter being administered by provincial employment insurance plans. New mothers can take between 17 and 52 weeks leave from their jobs. Their employers are required to accept the employees back into their careers. Not to mention, new parents can be given 35 weeks, which can be split between them. When speaking to a mother of 2 children, she was expressing how lucky she was able to stay home with her children because her husband had a large enough income that it was possible. She believed that her being home with her children throughout their entire childhoods shaped them into the people they are today, which is loving, nurturing, and kind people. Parental leaves are a modest budget expense, but should constitute an essential part of any country's child and family policy and a necessary component of country's early childhood and education care policy. You may be thinking, okay, so this sounds simple. You have to live in Canada, make sure that you are there for the first 2 years of your child's life. You are sorely mistaken. All expectant parents hope that their babies will be healthy. However, sometimes problems arise that require a newborn to be hospitalized. When this happens, the baby may be admitted to the neonatal intensive care unit for treatment. Not only are you worried about your child, but the fees can be unimaginable. The average cost for Canadian hospitals per NICU admission was $9,700. Some people meticulously save money and do not have that kind of money to afford such a thing. Yet they would do anything for their child, which would put them back into such a large amount of debts that it could set them back for years, months. 14.4% of newborns in Canada were admitted to the NICU, and out of those newborns, more than half the parents did not have the funds. While interviewing a mother, she discussed her labor journey and all the nerves she faced with both pregnancies. However, she had to have C-section births, but the babies were incredibly healthy. That, however, is not the case for everyone. How easy does it sound now, from all the money to the possibilities of your child having brain development issues to the chance of them being hospitalized? It's a massive task that not everyone can take on, and people need to realize that. I would like to thank you all for listening, and let's all give a massive round of applause to all the parents around, because it isn't an easy thing that they are doing.